Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Elaina. Привет! I'm your Russian-American makeup and beauty addict. I usually do tutorials and reviews of affordable, inexpensive makeup from dollar store, drugstore, Walmart, various websites, you name it. I'll test it in my face and I'll pass the savings to you guys. So in this video, I'm doing in-depth makeup tutorial for this eye look, and I'm doing it with Nikkie Tutorials palette, this beautiful Beauty Bay Nikkie Tutorials palette that is kind of controversial because some people say it doesn't work. So we're going to be doing in-depth, focusing on blending especially, and what colors work together, kind of a color theory and why you might think that this palette doesn't blend well. Well, it's my theory. So I'm gonna give you my tips and techniques, and if you guys are interested, then keep on watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. I upload on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 AM Pacific time, and also go live on Sundays at noon Pacific time, which is 8 PM in UK. So subscribe, like, comment, and follow me Instagram, Twitter. The links are down in the description box. So let's get right into this video. So before we start this, I'm going to do a Russian word of the day, which is very appropriate for this tutorial, which is blend. So the noun blend is смесь. Смесь, very short word. I'm gonna put the Russian here, so the Cyrillic alphabet, and pronunciation below. Смесь. And blending is смешивание. A little longer, a little longer. So right next to it, I'm gonna put Russian, смешивание, and the pronunciation below. Смешивание. Смешивание. There you have it. We're gonna do some смешивания today, like a lot of смешивания. So let's get right into this tutorial. And before we start, just a couple of words. Just a disclaimer, the way I'm doing it doesn't mean it's the way you should be doing it. And again, I'm not claiming to be a pro makeup artist. I just figured out things that work for me, and this comes from a girl that's been doing eyeshadow with those spongy, like the spongy applicators that come with eyeshadow. Yes, I used those for years and I came up with great looks. And I started using brushes just a couple of years ago. Yes, so my advice of using brushes comes just like very recently, or maybe not a few years ago. But I did all my makeup looks with those blending sponges for a long time. So I figured out things for myself. In other words, don't take my word for it. Do whatever you like to do. If it works for you, that's great. But I'm gonna give you my advice and what I think works the best for me, and how I like to do things to make the life easier for me, pretty much. And we're gonna be talking about color theories and why some shades don't blend well, because these suckers are very far on the color wheel, and when you blend shades that's so far away on the color wheel, you create a muddy color in between. That's why some shades should not be mixed together, and it's not gonna be pretty, you know. So for example, I'm gonna put a color wheel here in the picture. So when you mix something which is called complementary colors, so if you're a hairdresser, you know what I mean. So when you have red hair and you have a lot of red underlying tone and you want a cool tone, so if you bleach your hair and you have this a lot of redness and you want a cool ashy level 7, you want to put a toner with green base. I mean, it's very basic. Usually don't put so much green, but green and red on opposite sides of the color wheel, so they neutralize each other. So you put green and red, you got neutral, muddy brown, kind of gray brown. So that's why to make a neutral hair color more neutral, you neutralize red with green. The same thing if you bleach your hair and it comes up to like a unsightly orange, like a dark orange, you put a blue base toner, so orange and blue. So if you put orange and blue eyeshadow together and you try to blend between, what you get in the middle is that muddy brown gray ugly tone. That's why those are not the best to blend together. So you might want to put something like a pink, magenta in between the blue and the orange, and maybe some purple, like a blue and purple and pink, and then the orange. Otherwise, it's gonna look a little muddy in between. And the same thing goes for, again, bleaching hair to the yellow. Your hair looks like a really, really bright yellow. And that's the opposite of purple. So now you look at the purple violet based toner. So you put violet based toner on your hair to neutralize it. So the same thing, you got yellow and got purple. If you blend those two colors next to each other in the eyeshadow, it's not gonna look pretty either. You're gonna have that muddy, muddy middle. So now you wanna blend something in the middle. So maybe put some, again, something more like a green and blue. So after yellow, you would put a little green, a little blue, and then that purple, just to make a transition more eye-pleasing and not that brown, like a gray brown in the middle. But again, it's all up to you, you know, it doesn't matter. If you're doing some artistic look, it might work. But as a color theory goes, for the same reason, these two are so far on the color wheel. That's why it's very hard to make an eye-pleasing blend in between. So it just won't really work that well. So that's not the palette fault. That's all I gotta say about it. Let's get right into this. So let's start with this basic cut crease, half cut crease tutorial. So first of all, know your eye shape and know your face shape. What's flattering for one person isn't flattering for another. For example, on myself, I prefer half-cut crease rather than a full-cut crease, but it's just my preference because I like the deep outer corner. It kind of opens up your eye and gives you a bigger eye look, while the full-cut crease leaves the space here, right? So I kind of prefer this shape. So we're gonna do this. So I'm using a Nikkie Tutorials palette, so this is my second look. I know some people are not happy with blending, but my palette is pretty perfect. I have no issues whatsoever. So today we're working with easy colors to blend, and you can use any palette, really. It's just like take a dark tone, any dark tone, and in the same color family, a lighter tone, which these are perfect. So slasher and blend and snap. So we're just working with these two colors pretty much. And then a low lash line, I did the red and I did the orange. So I did Big Eye and Redemption, a low lash line. So, but these are all in the same color family. So the blending should be really easy, because this, the blend and snap, is pretty much the lighter version of the slasher. Really. If you add white to this, then you're gonna get something along this line. So maybe a little cooler tones, but this, it's pretty much just the difference in lightness. So, and this too, the same thing. This is very close on the color wheel. Red and orange, they're next to each other. So the blend is really easy. So what are we doing today? We're using the colors that's logical to use together. So that makes sense, right? So now I'm using this Ultimate Eye Base Revolution. That's my recent favorite. And the way I applied it, I just pat it on with a brush in a very light layer. I mean, my theory and my preference is not to use too much primer. I mean, everybody's different. There's no rules on makeup, so you do whatever you feel comfortable with. I don't feel like we need too much primer, like when people pat and pat and pat and create cake. I don't think that's necessary, and most makeup artists agree, but you know, to each their own. I just prefer light layer. So, and that's about it. So I didn't set the base as usual. I prefer to start with the deeper shades and add the lighter shades, because I want the depth to land on the unset primer. Because if you start with a lighter tone, let's say I start with this, right? And then I feel most of the lid, right? And then I go with this on top. I mean, it's gonna be okay, but there's no base to grab on, so the dark color might come out a little bit less potent. I mean, less bright, I would say. So to get that out of the way, the brushes you use are important, but They're not important in the terms of like what brand you use and how expensive they are, unless they're really crappy. If you buy something so bad it just doesn't work, of course it's not gonna work. I'm going to use a variety of brands, just anything. It doesn't matter what brand, I'm just using the according by the size and shape and the quality, like the fluffy or the dense. So first I'm starting with a dense brush, and this is, well, I would say this is not as dense. It's pretty much good for anything. I like this brush, 231. That's a Luxe Petite Grease brush from Jessup Brushes. It looks like this. It does not have to be a Jessup brush. I would say it's a medium brush. It's dense, but it still has a flexibility to blend out colors, so they're not gonna stick. Like this, for example, this one is the pencil brush. So this one is good for creating lines and just kind of placing color where you want to sketch, where you want the shape to go. So first thing first, I'm gonna go with this bigger brush on the slasher, into the slasher. So I'm going to place the color, just pat it on outer corner. So I'm creating the angle right away. So I'm creating this cat eye angle, because this is the shape I chose and that's the shape I like. But it's up to you guys. If you like rounded shape, you can do rounded shape. I know I like to drag out my shape far, but it depends. If you're doing a day look, you don't want to go that far out with a dark deep shade. So this is the basic shape I want to create. So I'm going to go right into the low lash line just a little bit, just to kind of like work out this outer corner. There's a lot of fallout, but you don't have to worry about it. We're doing the face, the base makeup later. So now I'm filling in the outer corner. Just back and forth, back and forth. So I'm not blending yet, but I'm not placing second color yet. So now, before we go on, I'm using the smaller brush now, that pencil brush, to sketch out the cut crease. So here's the deal. If your eyes are deep set eyes like mine, you could have kind of similar problem as a hooded eyes, because when I open the eyes, I lose a little bit of the lid inside the crease, right? Because my eyes are so deep. But if you have hooded eyes, it's a kind of the same thing. It might be a little even worse because your eyelid just hooded, so it's covering all the crease. So I know my crease is here, so I want my new crease to be a little above, so that the eye looks bigger and it's open like this one, right? So now it's up to you how far you want to extend this into the inner corner. So some people like to put it way in into the inner corner. It's kind of an extreme look. It looks real cool. But if you want it going just with a basic eye shape, like a pleasing to the eye, I would just go just a little farther out, not too far into the nose. So I'm loaded with that slasher and I'm just painting it right where I want grease to be. So there is a way to do it differently, and you don't have to do it this way. So some people go right into the crease and blend it and then clean it up. To me, like, it's an extra step that I'm trying to avoid. So I'm trying to make myself my life easier. I forgot to zoom in, sorry. There we go. So I'm trying to make my life easier. So I'm not going all the way into the crease because I don't need color there. So I'm just putting it right where it is. And another thing is, if you put in this color a little too far into the crease, then after you clean up your new cut crease, you might lose the depth. So you don't want to lose it. So you know you want that dark color in there. So you don't want to put it too low because it'll disappear, right? So I'm blending this dark color right where I want it. So here's the deal. I could stop here, right? And I'll put the lighter color right above, just pat it on, and then try to blend. But here's the thing, like, to me, like, I found my own ways. You can do whatever you want, again. There's no rules in makeup, but to me, to make my life easier, I would like to blend this just a little bit, so that hard edge, it's not going to be baked into the skin. Because once you apply the lighter color to unset base. It's just gonna stick right into that base, and this line between two colors, it's gonna have that demarcation line, and it's gonna be hard to blend because they're both already set on a kind of cakey base. So you know what I mean? You know, it's something sticks to the base that the line between is gonna be hard to get rid of. So it's just my theory. So I'm going back into the fluffier brush, the first one, and I'm just slightly, I'm not loading any color. I'm just slightly circular motions, slightly blending it out. So this way, it's going already doing all the work for you, right? So when I apply that lighter color, the blend and snap, it's going to be so much easier. So another thing I like to do, the colors are too far in either the color on the color wheel or too far in the light and dark in tonality, I like to blend them and mix them together. So I'll use this brush, and I'll dip this brush into blend and snap, and I'll dip the same brush back into slasher, and I'll back into blend and snap. And I kind of go over the color switch, you know, to remove extra. Now I can place it right on that line where I was blending out. So this is already placing a new third color. So it's already making your life easier, right? Because now we got the third color that's not in the palette. That's a color I just created out of two. So now I can use another brush, a bigger brush. It doesn't matter what brand, just a little bigger and fluffier. So this one is much softer. It's a profusion brush, has no number on it. So because it's softer, it's going to be easier to blend out. So this one is going to be just for blend and snap. And I'm going to go in, take off the excess, and apply it under angle because I want kind of blend it out into the eyebrow, I mean closer to the eyebrow. So instead of going like this, straight in, I'll apply it at a 45-degree angle. Just right on top of the previous color and a little above. So 50% on, 50% off. And we're doing circular motions. Circular motions. So you see, this is already pretty perfect. It's getting there. I don't have mirror that close to my eyes. I'm kind of looking far so the mirror doesn't blind you. But I already can see that the blend is so easy because of that technique. One color, second color, and the first color together. We got the third color, and now we're just blending it out. You see, I'm still holding it 45 degrees in because I want to feather it out in the eyebrow, close to the brow bone. And then we'll highlight. So now we can go back into the first brush, the 231. So this one is still the same. I didn't put any color on it. So I'm just trying to blend it, the deeper color into a lighter color. Whatever is remaining on this brush from mixing the two colors together, that's what we're doing. Okay, I don't know if you can see better, but this is the blend that we're creating. So it looks pretty good already. So with this technique of using first and second color and kind of mixing them together, so now we created pretty perfect blend. I might need to blend a little bit more here, but it's already getting very easy and very nice. So now I'm going to highlight my brow bone with a small brush. I'll just use a light, very small pencil brush. I'm going into the ivy color, Swan. So this is pretty much the only highlight color for my skin tone in this palette. So using a fluffy brush, the lighter shade, to blend out this highlight shade. Because I find the Beauty Bay shimmers are nice, but they're very chunky. The same thing as in my Mimi Mitchell. The Mitchell palette has very chunky shimmers, so it's kind of hard to blend them out, but They're very pigmented. So with this kind of method, the amount of fallout is minimal and the amount of cleanup is minimal because I already created this line where it needs to be. So now I'm using micellar water and a Q-tip just to cut crease a little bit more and clean up the eyeshadow. Just apply it on the tip of a Q-tip. And there's not much cleanup, like I said, because I didn't apply the eyeshadow all the way into the crease. So I'm just going to do it on camera because we're doing full tutorial. So that's the same base I used, the Revolution base, Ultimate base in color light. And any flat brush will do. This is a Morphe, not numbered, not named, but it's very skinny. So the brush has to be very sharp and skinny. It's good to have a flat brush for that. So I put a little bit on my palm. Again, minimal amount. I do not like to apply too much. It just creates the cakiness and the creasiness you don't need. So I like to just apply it on the main lid. It doesn't matter. Some people do the blink thing, but my eyes are so deep. If I blink, it's still not doing anything. So I'm just kind of just drawing it where I want it to be. So if I open up my eyes, and another tip, don't raise the eyebrow. I tend to raise my eyebrows too when I look forward. So I go like this, and then the cut crease could be too low because when you lower eyebrows, the lid kind of falls. So now the shape is different. So you want to keep your eye as relaxed as possible and place the base right there. I like to use dry little tiny sponge to blend this out. So now you want to make it as clean as possible. I always end up using some kind of liner for the crease because I want to add extra glitter. Because it always seems like I need something extra in there. Or jewels or something. So here's an important tip, you guys, important. Because I see this being done all the time. And of course, again, there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. But I think it'll make your life easier if you do this extra step, just a tiny extra step. So when we're doing the cut crease like this, full crease, half cut crease, I would say it's mostly for half cut crease or the halo eye. When you apply the base, and the base does not blend with a deeper tone, right? It just sits there with a straight line. So let's say I did this. I'm gonna show you. Just like that, a line. And then apply the shimmer over that and then try to blend. It's the same thing as applying the matte colors next to each other and then trying to blend them. It's just not gonna happen. I mean, it's gonna happen, but it's gonna be hard. So again, making my life easier. So I'm gonna use my finger, or you can use the same sponge and just blend it out. I pull that base into the deep eyeshadow. So I'm already creating this blend. So when you try to blend the shimmer with a matte, it's going to be so much easier. So now I'm taking another Jessup flat brush, and this is the easiest part. This is pretty much a no-brainer. Just to fill the space with a shimmery eyeshadow, and you can pick any color you want. I just want to create the same color scheme with the pinkish, purplish color. So I'm gonna go into the Roxy Catan. The shimmer flat brush. This is just a flat brush. It doesn't matter, again, it can be any flat brush, and just pack it on. Depends on the texture of your shimmer. You could take different approaches. Some people like to use their fingers. I don't like it because, first of all, I like to use nails, but even without nails it's hard to make it precise if you use your fingers. And if it doesn't stick, then we can use a little help. I'm gonna use primer water from Primark, or any primer water, any setting spray, to make the brush a little more wet. Then the eyeshadow is going to stick a little better. So as you can see, this is already blending into the matte shade because of the technique I used earlier to pull that primer in. So it creates already kind of sort of blended look, and the further blending is going to be so much easier. So I left a little room here for the beautiful, beautiful Olean shade. So I want to use this one in the inner corner and kind of drag it out into the middle a little bit. This shade is my favorite shimmer, duochrome, beautiful. So now we blending the matte outer corner into the shimmer, and you could do different things. You can use just the dark matte and feather it out as much as possible, or you can use that second shade, which is preferred method for me, or you can use anything pretty much, but the most flattering would be use the dark and then the second light shade. So I'm going to intensify the outer corner first with the same pencil brush. And then I'm going to dip the same pencil brush into the blend and snap. Okay, low lash line. You can use anything pretty much, as long as it's not too small or too large. If it's too large, it's just gonna drag the eyeshadow everywhere. I mean, you can clean it up, but it doesn't make any sense. If it's too small, it's gonna be just a sharp line. So I'm just using kind of a small-ish medium brush. And this is Lavish brush from BoxyCharm set. This is eye shading. I like that it's still fluffy, but it's very small, so it can get into the low lash line. And I'm going into Nikkie and Redemption, so red and orange. Again, these are close to the color wheel, so I can blend red into orange easy. So first with red. Again, this doesn't matter as much because once you apply base, it might cover up the orange, and then you can reapply orange after the base is done. So when I apply a dye base, I apply the base into the low lash line. And now I'm going to clean this brush on a color switch. If you wonder what color switch is and you're watching me for the first time, this is a Brillo pad pretty much. Got this on Amazon. So this is Artsy. I always confuse this because I want to pronounce it as Artsy, but this is Artsy. I'm not even trying anymore. So this is gonna start your blend, because once you're done with the base, this is gonna be all gone, of course, so you can reapply this later. So yeah, so that's the kind of base we're getting. So now on top of this, I'm going to use the Urban Decay liner, because I do want a little more sparkle. Although this eyeshadow is very sparkly, but I like to add a little sparkle. Again, this is optional, you can leave it as is. I just want to use Urban Decay Grind. This is my friend's gift. Thank you, Victoria. It's a heavy metal liner. So here's a tip. If you're not happy with the shape and you already laid your shimmer and you feel like something needs to be changed, it's a good way to cheat and change your shape a little bit. If like I want to lift this up a little bit, I put the liner, glitter liner a little above the shimmer, and when I lower here I can put a little below. I mean, you can trick the eye. Alright, so now I'm happy with the shape, so we can do the waterline. So the waterline is up to you, of course. I used to be a big fan of white, and I still love the white waterline, but recently I've been more into the colors. And even though I like to mix everything, it's not because I don't want to buy those pencils. If you girls are always like, why don't you buy that pencil? Because I like mixing stuff. So this is LA Girl Neon Liner and Shockwave. And this is pretty much a lip liner, Blaze. So I'm going to put this in my waterline first. And this is very pretty, but this is too pink for the low lash line, because I'm having red. So I want this a little more orange rather than pink. So I'm gonna leave this alone and put a little yellow over. Again, color theory. Pink and yellow is gonna give you orange-ish color. So put yellow on top and we're gonna get orange. I'm going to clean up a little bit. Don't forget to moisturize after you do this. So this is a makeup wipe. I mean, the stuff that's on it is probably not good for you, so I like to use a little micellar water to clean off the residue of the makeup wipe. So I like to curl my eyelashes because after you apply the eyeliner, you can actually smudge the eyeliner with this. So I like to do this first. I know that a lot of you don't like to curl, but I feel like it does add a little bit something. and it kind of follows the shape of the fake eyelashes. Alright, so eyelashes curled. Now I can do the eyeliner. And I usually like the deep outer corner. And this palette doesn't have a white or black, so that's the only two colors I'm missing. So like if I were Nikkie, not to be critical, but I would probably could get away, do away with like a Myla maybe shade and put the, like a white here, and maybe get rid of something else and put a black. Maybe get rid of the shimmer and put a black there. I mean, I like to have white and black in my palettes, but that's just me. So I'm using Renaissance Click or Revolution eyeliner, and I changed my opinion about this 180. I hated it first, now I love it. So I like to place the eyeliner, I mean it's a felt tip, just place it flat near the eyelashes and it kind of drags out the shape for you. Okay, for the mascara I'm going with the Revolution, that's I Heart Revolution Chocolate Dipped. And this is a very decent mascara. I've been using it quite a bit. So you can definitely see the curl. I feel like it does help with the eyelash curler first, because then the fake eyelashes have the same shape. Okay, the face is gonna make when I put mascara on. I mean, they're just not that camera friendly, so I took that out. Nobody wants to see me put on mascara. So I'm using these eyelashes. This is from Alter Ego. These are $5 eyelashes. They're fabulous. So, I mean, it doesn't matter which ones, of course. So I'm using the door glue. I like to use a traditional method of putting glue into the eyelash, not on my eyelid. I know some people like it, and I've tried it. I thought I liked it for a second, but I feel like it smudges over my eyelashes sometimes and gets into the eyeliner and destroys everything. So I like to let it dry first and not put anything in my lash line. So I like to move it a little bit first, kind of bend it so it follows the eye shape better. Break it up a little bit, although it's not a new lash, but I still like to do it every time I put it on. And I just plop it on with my fingers. I mean, you can use the tweezers applicator or whatever. So sometimes I use my fingernail just to push it down. Alright, so I got the eyelash on. So then another step that I like to do, after I let the glue dry and I assess the situation, there could be a little fallout from a shimmer after you apply the eyeliner and the lashes. So I can look and see if I need to fix anything. So I can use a eyeliner right on top of the lash line and on top of the fake lashes. So this will clean up the look. So when you blink, it's not gonna look like a hot mess. So here's the thing, since there is no black here and I like my outer corner to be black, I cheated here. So I like to kind of smudge the outer corner the eyeliner with black. So I'm going into the infamous Mitchell palette, which everybody loves. And I'm going to Mafia, another small pencil brush, Morphe, and I use black. So you can use color switch. You see, I like to use color switch, but when I just use like two different shimmers or like shades that really close on the color wheel, otherwise it's gonna be a mess and it's gonna be inevitably dirty and not very clean look. So I'm just gonna put it right over that line and then smudge it into a little lash line. So we're creating this depth here because we like the depth, right? So it looks so much better now. Well, yesterday we had earthquake. I don't know if you guys heard. If anybody lives in South California, we moved from New York a year ago, like a little over a year ago. Most of that year we spent in lockdown because of coronavirus. But we still like not used to this here. And I lived in Moldova for years, so I'm not unfamiliar with the earthquakes. But I haven't experienced one until yesterday, and yesterday we shook quite a bit. So our elevators were down. So I think the elevators were down all day today. I still haven't come out. So I'm using a small brush, the Jessup pencil brush. I'm going to a slasher, so we don't have any harsh lines between black. Alright, so now it's time to clean up the face. So another tip, don't forget to clean above your eyebrow, because guess what, when you blend, all this eyeshadow lands there, and sometimes your foundation picks up, your primer picks up. I'll show you the receipts. Hold on. See that? This just above my eyebrow. So that's the proof here. You need to clean it everywhere. So here's the initial look. We can add a little more blending or whatever needs to be fixed after the base, because when you apply the base you see the full picture. So for now I'm happy with what I have, but it might be a little unbalanced. When you put the base on you can see. So I'll be right back. Hey, I'm back. So I did my base and now I'm about to give you the finishing touches that you don't see what I do off camera to finish off all the blending. So now we got this low lash line, and my base went up to it, but there is no blending. So I'm taking this tiny brush that I've been using, the one I use for the low lash line. I don't have any color on it, just whatever is left over. So my tip is to look down. So when you look down, there's not as much fallout, just to blend out the edges. So now we get softer blend after this. So now we can balance out the eyes. So my left eye is much smaller. I don't know if you noticed, but it's not my favorite side. My favorite side is right, and my left eye is way smaller. So I try to blow out the low lash line a little bigger here, so to even out the balance. So if I see this line is bigger, I usually try to balance. All the concealer applied here create kind of a jagged line there. So I'm taking the fluffy brush that I use next to my brow bone, and I'm dipping into basic Trot, and it's like a very light flesh tone shade. I'm blending it right here just to get rid of a harsh line. I'm going back to the Bend and Snap and add a little bit of that, and the same thing here. Blow out a little more. So when we're doing this lifted look, I blocked my microblading, blocked this edge, and I lifted it up a little bit to give it a real snatched look. It gives me a little bit of a resting bee face, but I like it. Okay, so the last thing left to do is put a highlighter in the inner corner. I'm going back to Ivy. I wet the brush with the spray already. So that's why I like to do this after the base, because otherwise concealer would just destroy this anyway. So now we have a very snatched, very pulled out, very dramatic look. And it was actually very easy to do. I just spent a lot of time explaining what I was doing, but the blend came out very easy. So the bottom line is there is no rules in makeup. So you can do whatever you feel comfortable with doing. And the way I did it doesn't mean it's right. I'm not a pro artist. I just found ways for me that work. And I also watched like Robert Welsh and other pro artists, and I kind of agree with them on most of the things. So this is the way I like to do it. It doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean you have to do it this way. It's just easier for me to do my makeup like that. So yeah, that's a final look. So let's test the color theory now. And this is going to be an experiment with the two shades that's problematic, Amsterdam and Ivy. So they're very far away on the color wheel. So that's my theory, that because they're so far away, you'll have problems. Like, I'm not even sure how it's gonna come out. I have not tried to mix them yet, so it's gonna be a test for me and you. So I'm just gonna do it like here, right there. And I blend it right on the palm of my hand on a primer. So I'm taking Revolution base. I'm just gonna create a base here. Blend out real well, not too much. So it's all blended out. So now we got the base on the palm of my hand. So I'm gonna take just any fluffy brush. So I got two clean brushes here, about the same size. It doesn't matter. They're like fluffy, but they're still yet firm. So I'm gonna take this Ipsy Bag brush, Glamour Doll 10, and I'm gonna dip into the Amsterdam. Let me zoom in so you can see better. So this is just a theory. We're not doing eye look, obviously. I'm just trying to see how this is gonna look. So my theory is to blend out the edges first. So we're gonna blend out just a little bit. So this way, it's gonna not look patchy. Well, I used the shade already. I had no issues with it. So I'm blending the edges out. I mean, obviously it's bigger than you would do an eye shape, but I'm just testing the two colors together. So now I'm going to clean this brush. And I'm going to dip this into U, because U is very far on the color wheel. I'm gonna dip it back into Amsterdam and back into U, because U is much lighter, so I want more U more U than Amsterdam, and we're gonna try to apply above. So it's gonna create kind of a muddy look for now, because those two colors are not the best colors together. But there you would have it. Alright, so now I'm taking another brush, a clean brush. I'm going directly into U. Now I'm going to try to blend U. Well, clearly it's a lot of space. If you were doing an eye look, it would be probably this much, but this is just a theory. So it's getting there. So I can go back to the first brush and apply it between U and Amsterdam again. Both together. And do the same thing again. Alright, circular motions. And remember, if you want to blend in the spot where you want to blend, not to extend it out, you're going to go straight in. So we're going to go straight in and just blend it there. Okay, so this isn't bad. I wasn't even looking directly at it. I was just going like this. So once I looked down, blend it a little more. So my theory works. You see, it created this perfect gradation. But the thing is, I'm still not happy with this for one reason, because these two colors, they're not flattering next to each other. They're just too far on the color wheel, so they create muddy color in between. So for me, just personally, they don't work together, period. I wouldn't be blending them together. If it was for me, just to create something with you, I would put it like on a low lash line, or I'll put you and then blend it in a plot twist, which I did. I added a little plot twist on top. So you can do a look with that. It's not going to be deepest color, but you can do like a pastel hue. I don't like the hue here in this palette. That makes no sense. Like, that color just does not make any sense in this. So I would just put black instead of hue. If it was up to me, it would be black in there. And instead of Mila, I would put white. Maybe white and black. That would be enough. But again, that's me. And that's Nikki. If I'm creating my own palette, you better believe it. It's going to be a matte black there, and it's going to be matte white. I'm a drag queen, alright? I'm like a drag queen. I love all the blacks and I like white. Those two have to have place in the palette, and a light highlight shade, those like a must. So yeah, but I mean, it works. So you can make it work the way I showed you. So if you mix them two together in the brush, and apply that first and then the green. And again, the key is to apply the shade and blend it out first a little bit, then they do the 1 and 2 together, shade 1 and shade 2, and then shade 2. Otherwise, you're gonna have harsh lines, and it's gonna be hard to get rid of. I mean, you can, but it's gonna be very hard. So yeah. So I hope it helps and gives you some basic idea. I'm not sure how long this video is gonna be. I hope not too long. I'm just trying to see on the monitor, see how long it's been. Ugh. But I hope it's not going to be extra long. I just wanted to do a dedicated eye blending tutorial, just to give you ideas and to give you tips on how to blend and how to do my makeup. So I hope it helps. I hope you enjoyed it. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe to my channel if you're new here. Welcome. I upload Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 AM Pacific time, and also go live on my channel on Sundays at noon Pacific time, which is 8 PM in UK. And I usually do makeup challenge, and now it's Halloween time, so I do Halloween challenges that my friends and subscribers challenge me with. So follow me on Instagram, Twitter, the links below. You can connect with me on Instagram and throw me some pictures and challenges. Come to chat, come to enjoy on Sundays. It's our fun time. So leave me a comment below, let me know what you think about this palette in general, and let me know what you think about my techniques. Again, as I said before, again and again, this is all very, very individual, and what works with one person might not be good for another, so it's all up to you guys. This is just the way I like it, and this is the way in my brain it works, and it's very logical for me to do it this way, so that's the way I like to do it. So I hope I see you guys in my next video, and thank you for watching, thank you for being subscribers, and thank you for all my patrons on my Patreon page. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Love you. Bye.